For the record, I'm not student number 1 or number 2. I'm Kate Hanley, Chairman of the Electoral Board, and before I begin my quadrennial request, I want to thank Fairfax County Public Schools for the effort and cooperation that everyone in the division makes to help the voters of Fairfax County have safe, accessible places to vote. Thank you very much, and a particular shout out to Vicki Garner, who organizes all 167 schools for us, and several of those, almost 30 of those, have 2 precincts in them already. So that is something I want you to know when I talk about what we need for Election Day. Over the years, since I've been coming every 4 years, it's been a long time, there have been several changes. One of them was we got the primary moved to the 3rd Tuesday, and so I could stop bothering you about that. And then Election Day became, last year, year before, a holiday. So on November, that Election Day, so I could stop bothering you about that. But this year, both the Republican and Democratic parties have chosen March 5th to be their presidential primary. And you all got a letter from me that pointed out that in 2016, I believe, from all of us, I haven't really read it again that closely. I've been too fascinated with the calendar discussion. And I do want to say for the public that my calendar discussion is about students in schools, not what you all do on whenever day you do it. But that particular day could have up to 260,000 people, we've had that before, in our schools. And also we don't have the flexibility when students are there. We need to use cafeterias. We need to use, without the little chairs that are attached to them, people fall off of those. If they're in junior highs and elementary schools, and gymnasiums.
Thank you.
Joe Pack. Richard Altmeyer.
Good evening, board members. My name is Rich Altmeyer. I'm a resident of Fairfax County. Considering the equity policy just adopted, I feel it's valuable, given a kind of hard to understand policy, to issue, for this board to issue some guidances to our teachers to help them execute within that policy. So I respectfully propose these guidances. Guidance 1, do not teach our children an individual by virtue of their race or sex bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the race or sex. Do teach our children we're working to improve the world. The best way for you to do that is to learn the material in this class well. Guidance 2, do not teach our children an individual should be discriminated against because of the individual's race. Do teach our children all children are created equal. Help your classmates to understand the lessons and ace the tests. All can study hard, do their homework, and achieve greatness. Guidance 3, do not teach our children an individual by virtue of their race or sex is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. Do teach our children, study hard, help your classmates learn, and become a strong, upstanding citizen. Guidance 4, do not teach one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex. Do teach grit and determination, determine the child's results. We know that all children of all races can achieve, and further, that teachers can inspire the children. Guidance 5, do not teach a child that they can change their sex despite a child wishing to run faster, jump higher, or dance more gracefully. Rather, maintain and protect each child's bodily integrity. Lastly, encourage that no teacher should hide their actions in the equity policy. Rather, each is to stand up and say what they will do. Thank you.
Elizabeth Zielinski.
Hello.
Although I serve as chair of your advisory committee for students with disabilities, I'm speaking tonight as an individual. I'm the parent of a teenager with unreliable communication, as well as a special education advocate with experience throughout Fairfax and neighboring divisions. I'm here to comment on the Student Rights and Responsibilities Policy and tonight's proposed amendment, which involves parents before taking statements from students with intellectual or developmental disabilities who are facing disciplinary suspension. These students represent a wide variety of communication challenges, and for some, a cognitive inability to understand the risk associated with making inaccurate statements. Policies primarily designed for non-disabled students do not accommodate their unique needs. Involving a parent is an extra step and extra time, but obtaining a student's statement should not prioritize speed over accuracy. Parent involvement is an opportunity, not an impediment. I'd like to respond to a question from last month that was raised regarding data to support a specific need for this amendment. I have examples from my practice because these incidents do occur, but you can't measure that effect of an absent policy. We don't know how many past cases were affected by unreliable statements. We have to rely on anecdotal evidence and lived experiences. Those of us with that lived experience know that this amendment corrects a critical blind spot in procedure. FCPS, with its size and influence, has the opportunity to set a new standard for best practices related to disciplinary equity. Tonight's proposal is also an opportunity to act upon this board's aim to improve school-family relationships. Your support for this amendment will foster trust from families who feel marginalized by a system not tailored for their child, by explicitly inviting their participation at a critical moment. Safety in our schools must be the priority, yet we must not compromise the safety of our most vulnerable students as a means of preserving it for anyone else. True safety and equity must be inclusive. Thank you.
Holly Hazard.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and congratulations, and Vice Chair, congratulations, and the rest of the school board. I'm Holly Hazard. I'm with For Public Education. Tonight, I'm speaking in support of Glasgow Middle School being put on the priority list for boundary adjustments. I was involved in the boundary changes at Glasgow when my oldest child was in elementary school. She is now in her 30s. Because we are inside the Beltway, development infill is the only way to expand housing, and this doesn't come with space for new schools. Our neighborhoods have become more dense than school infrastructure has stayed the same, with the notable exception of Bailey's Upper School. Glasgow is not only an overpopulated school, but one with an exceptionally large vulnerable population of students due to poverty and ESL. Glasgow, at an incredible 1,800 students, is larger than Lewis and is actually double the size of both Poe and Holmes. Double. This is not a healthy teaching environment for middle school children. Our community strongly supports this effort. Please give priority to the amazing school working so hard to lift up some of our most needy children. Thank you.
Robin Thompson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robin Thompson. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Robin Y. Thompson. I would like to explain my relationship with Fairfax County Public Schools. I have worked for the public schools as a custodian, PHTA, and last, instructional assistants. I'm sorry, I'm just having difficulty. I worked with the population of special needs students. I was proud to work with them. Fairfax County gave me an opportunity to go to college. I took them on that opportunity because I wanted to figure out what the disabilities were and how they can manage them disabilities. I wanted to be professional. 2017, I came to the board with the ideas of opening up a community for special needs students, a community that would encourage them, invoke behaviors to push them up. a community with elementary school, middle school, high school, technical center, naturalization center, and if you can, put it in pools and tennis and basketball. This type of community is needed because I see so many kids fall through the cracks after leaving high school. We cannot keep allowing this to go on. Our autistic children have developed data.
Cheryl Binkley.
Hello, everybody. I know it's hard to believe, but I almost didn't come tonight. Then two things happened today that convinced me I should. One was I drove by Park Lawn Elementary School, which is at the corner of my block. And it is a major feeder school of Glasgow Middle School. I watched as there were two more, maybe more than two, portable classrooms being added to the large garden of portable classrooms all around Park Lawn Elementary. And so I felt the need to come and say, it's not getting better in terms of the number of students we're having to accommodate. And so Glasgow's overcrowding problems need to be addressed sooner rather than later, because later will be too late. The second thing that happened, so please do move forward on that. The second thing that happened was someone posted to me that we should not talk about sex in school. I was a high school teacher. I'm well aware of how much talk about sex happens between the ages of 13 and 19. Our family life education program has always attempted to be robust, objective, and non-judgmental so that our students can confront the complexity of their coming of age in a safe and well-informed environment. Please don't ever back away from that. It is so critical to their well-being as well-rounded individuals, as adults who have a healthy and well-adjusted life with partners. So please don't back away from that. So those are the things I learned today. Thank you.
Next is video testimony from Amanda Campbell.
Good evening. I'm speaking tonight as president of Fairfax County SEPTA regarding the proposed amendment to the SRNR that would change the requirements surrounding parental involvement when deciding whether to suspend a student with intellectual or developmental disabilities from parental notice to parental consent. Please note that I am recording this on July 7th, having only seen the first draft of the proposed amendment language. Students with disabilities in FCPS are already disproportionately disciplined, representing just 15% of the total population, yet making up 38.9% of out-of-school suspensions and 32.1% of incidents involving law enforcement in just the first semester of last year alone. We must emphasize that nothing in this amendment prevents staff from responding expediently in the midst of a crisis. The new draft language also makes it clear that administrators retain the right to suspend a student based on other information if they do not receive written or verbal consent within 2 days. These were two of the main concerns voiced at the June 26th meeting, and the draft language clearly addresses them both while preserving the change to consent. In our June 28th letter to the school board, we shared documentation demonstrating that students with intellectual disabilities are at significantly higher risk of giving false statements when they are being questioned. We understand the concerns expressed by staff and the hesitancy to make this change. Those concerns, however, cannot override the inherent inequity in taking statements without consent from students who are at a higher risk for not fully understanding the consequences of such a statement. This school board has made a commitment to equity, and students with intellectual and developmental disabilities must be included in that. I am updating this testimony as of Wednesday, July 13th to add that we support the draft language that we received on Tuesday, July 12th. Thank you to board members as well as to Dr. Reed and her leadership team for putting this together so quickly. This draft is a significant improvement over the current SR&R language. We urge this board to pass the amendment tonight. Making this change is a small yet impactful step towards equity for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities in FCPS. Thank you.
Madam Chair, that was our last public speaker.
Thank you.